Hi everyone, welcome back to the Nook. I'm Camden.
And I'm Morgan.
And we have a quick little joke for you this morning before we hop into things. What is a logger's favorite type of food to eat in the woods?
Are you asking us?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea, Camden.
Tree logs. I don't know.
Mac and trees.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right.
Hold on.
Oh my gosh. Well, welcome back to the Nook, everybody.
So, back into the episode. Today's episode is a special one because instead of talking about the impact of play, we are hearing directly from someone who lived it.
Yeah, in this episode, we're so excited to be joined by Joelle Hanscom, who grew up in the TimberNook program starting from age 5 and is now an adult reflecting back on how years of child-led outdoor play has shaped her confidence, her creativity, and her ability to navigate challenge and uncertainty, both as a child and into adulthood. Sometimes when we talk about play, we focus on things like outcomes, research, or theory, but today is really about lived experience and what it actually feels like to grow up trusted, challenged, and supported through play.
Whether you're a parent, provider, educator, therapist, or someone reflecting on your own childhood, this episode invites you to remember what becomes possible when children are given the space, time, and trust to play.
Joelle, thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to have you on the Nook. And before we get started, can you start by telling us a little bit about who you are, what you're up to today, and your connection with TimberNook?
Yeah, so my name is Joelle Hanscom. I am 20 years old and a sophomore in college. I am pursuing business management and entrepreneurship. And I'm super excited to continue to work very closely with TimberNook and just try to share all my memories about TimberNook when I was growing up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you hear the words TimberNook childhood, what's the first memory or thought that comes to your mind?
Oh my gosh, me picking up a tire and like booking it in the woods with like the swamp clan on my tail, and I'm just like running down the hill to our fort with all the girls and like yelling at someone like, open the door, and just like chucking the tire at them.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
That sounds really fun. Can you talk a little bit about your first experiences at TimberNook? What felt different about TimberNook than other things that you might have been doing when you were a kid?
When I first started TimberNook, when my mom first started TimberNook, I was 5 years old. And so TimberNook back then was nature stepping stones. And so it was like a lot different than what we know TimberNook as like to be now. So it was more of like petting alpacas and like making like veggie drinks. I don't know what it's called, but like we used to like cut up the veggies and blend it all in the blender, and then we'd have like the parents come and like we'd have like our little juice shop, and we'd like sell the parents our juice, and they would be like, so good. It tasted like nastiness, but anyways, so like compared to what else I was doing when I was that age, I was just running around the backyard, and like me and my sister, we used to go play with the neighbors. So we would walk down the dirt trail to our neighbor's house and just go jump on their trampoline with them. So, I mean,
awesome.
I was always outside as a kid, so it didn't matter what I was doing.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah. So it sounds like TimberNook was much different when you started when you were 5 years old, and it evolved into what we know as TimberNook is today. Like, it sounds like there was a lot of adult-led structured activities when it first started, and now it has since evolved into more of a child-led model.
Definitely.
So that's
from activity to opportunity.
Love that. That's something we need that as a quote.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and another thing I heard you say is that you participated in a lot of neighborhood play, which I feel like even for us, like growing up, that was common, but maybe not be as common now as it was even 10 years 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it still wasn't common when I was little. Me and my sister, like, you would go down the neighborhoods, and I think my mom talks about this when she does talks, but you wouldn't see any kids outside. We had to, like, go, like, when I talk about going to, like, ask my neighbors to play, we would go pound on their door. We'd be like, come out, come out. And if they didn't come out, like, we would just make our own fun, or we would just go jump on their trampoline without them.
So what did a typical TimberNook day look like for you?
Well, it started off with a lot of strategy. So before we even started the day, me and my sister, we would be talking about like what strategy we were going to use for the day, how to get all the gems back, all the tires, and make our fort prettier, I guess. And then so after the circle and the story, we would wait until they said the opportunity, and then we would just book it for the supplies, because the main goal was to have as much stuff as possible. But you didn't want to be like the Swamp Clan. All the guys, they would just pile their stuff, and so it was like in this giant mound. But like us girls, we thought that like when you went at the end of the week, it's because you have like the prettiest fort or whatever. So we would try doing that, and then we would just go and like hide all our treasure. Like we would dig at the root of trees and stuff our gems in there, and we wouldn't remember where we put it, but we were like, well, they'll never find this. But yeah, it was just a lot of stealing back and forth and spying.
So this is part of what we say when we say that each TimberNook location is different, but the play and the experience is always exactly the same.
Yep.
Because you said that was when you started when you were like 5, so
yes.
Almost 2 decades later, the kids that we watch out at TimberNook are still doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
Every location I've ever been to, they're always doing the same exact stuff. So
I see it all the time at summer camp. Like they'll be like, they're stealing, and I'm like, yes, get them.
Yeah.
And you know what the part that stuck with me the most was that the kids still will try to hide things and then immediately will not be able to find them. So, especially in the snow.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just happens.
Yeah, that's
true.
right. Part of the play. So during your time at TimberNook, were there specific times that felt especially exciting to you?
Particularly the stealing game. I talk about this a lot probably, but just like when you're like in the moment, it feels really real to you. Like it doesn't feel like a game. So when somebody on the other team steals your gems, or you're like hauling butt across the woods with a tire in hand and you're trying not to get it stolen back, like there is no TimberNook. You're just like in the woods, just running like heck.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably just the stealing game and spying. Like spying was really like that really makes your adrenaline pump, because you're like hiding behind those trees and like underneath the shrubbery and stuff, and you're putting leaves on you to like camouflage you. But then everything, it just makes your heart pound. It's not a game when you're playing it, but it's definitely nothing close to Lord of the Flies.
No. It's completely different. Well, it's operating out of a completely different like space. Like those kids are operating out of a space of trauma and fear and anxiety, and TimberNook emphasizes emotional safety,
right?
So it's a completely different.
No, but I get the correlation, because like you're saying, when you're in it, it feels real. Like you feel like you're real.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like looking back in my childhood, we used to play capture the flag, which is not it's not TimberNook, but we used to do that just as like an activity outside, and like that felt so real to me too. But then again, we see that we went to the TimberNook conference this year, and we did an adult activity where we went outside.
That was so much fun.
And it's kind of simulated. It was kind of a capture the flag activity.
It was.
And it was so surreal to be like brought back to, I mean, being an adult, you don't really get the opportunity to immerse yourself in play like that as much as we used to, or at all ever. And so to be able to like bring myself back to that space, it does feel real. It feels like you're actually immersed into this game, and that it's just really cool, and you can kind of feel like how the kids are feeling in the moment.
Yeah, you're making me jealous. I really wanted to go to that, but I had to work. So.
Next time, Camden, next time.
I think we should do like young adult experiences, teen experiences, because we did one like a day over the summer, and it was so much fun. Like I saw some of the pictures from that. I wish I could go back down memory lane and just like relive just a day, like preferably a week of TimberNook. But yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah,
you heard it here first. We're gonna do it.
Really, of like pretty much all ages, we should have some sort of TimberNook like situation where.
No, we can't steal from 5-year-olds. That would be so mean.
No, I'm saying like
they're fine.
Yeah, I'd do it.
They're fine.
You know what?
They're fine.
Get out of my way.
Oh my gosh! But just like
give me that tire
amongst like adults, because we never really get a chance to go back
Play.
to that type of feeling.
It helps you with socialization too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people realize how good it is to play like just like free play out in the woods with other people, because like gosh, some of the people I go to college with, they need TimberNook right now.
Yeah.
It's a really good icebreaker too, because during our time at conference, we really got to know each other fast during that game, including myself. We got to know each other. It was a really great way to.
Well, because you just turn and you assign people. You're like, all right, you're the runner, you're the guarder.
Yeah, and see the competitive side of people too, for sure.
It's always fun.
Did our moms play along with this?
Your mom left early, but my mom, no, my mom didn't join in. I was like, come on, Mom, you're on my team. And she was like,
she had to play referee with the
my
way.
legs.
I think she was really the referee. We needed
was.
one. We needed one for sure.
That's valid.
Joelle, what did freedom mean to you as a kid in the woods?
Freedom was not being told what to play or how to play in the woods, and just being like your own person, and just like interacting with other kids naturally, instead of like being told like, hey, like you have to play with so and so, and just stuff like that, because it's so different than being in a classroom setting where you're always told like what to do it, how to play, who to talk to. So like just when you're out in the woods, it's just like I said before, natural, and you just get to play what you want to play, and you don't feel like someone's breathing down your neck. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was my least favorite thing. We went to school together. And yeah, so we had to deal with the same struggles. Teachers like, don't do this, don't do that.
There's only like 5 people in the classroom too,
Yeah,
and
I
so you
know.
get extra attention.
Yeah.
And with kids nowadays too, the amount of verbal, I'm going to say the word like demands or prompts that kids get daily in school, out of school, at home. I mean, it is, I don't know the number, but it is a lot. They get told what to do and how to do it all day long. And so to have a time where the kids are given the freedom and autonomy to explore what they want to explore, and to dive into play schemes that they want to play with, and not have that presence over you. It must be, that truly is what I feel like would be freeing for them.
Yeah, it hinders their development too, because if they're constantly being told what to do and like how to play and stuff, it's like they don't know how to make their own choices, and
Yeah,
so
they're
they
going to grow
don't
up looking for those
right.
answers.
And
Yeah.
they don't know, like they make bad choices in friends and outside of school, and like they misbehave in school because they're tired of being told what to do all the time. And so TimberNook
sure.
is really good for giving kids that freedom to express themselves.
It can even go the other way too. And then when you don't have direction, so much direction, it can cause anxiety or feelings of anxiety, because these kids don't know how to rely on themselves.
Definitely.
For sure.
So how did TimberNook shape your relationship with risk-taking?
So risk-taking is something that's really crucial in a kid's development. Like you see it all the time. I'm so thankful that I started TimberNook at an early age, because as a counselor now, looking at other kids, like they get to the top of this rock and they look down, they're like, oh man, like I'm gonna jump, and you're like, oh, don't jump. But they fall and they end up crying, and they just aren't really good about assessing what is appropriate risk versus not appropriate risk. And so as a kid, like when you start TimberNook early, or you start free outdoor play, child-directed play earlier, it's almost comes natural to you. Like you don't have to look at a rock too long and be like, should I jump off this? Like it's just like you just don't jump off the rock. And if you do, like it's kind of natural consequence,
That's
which
exactly
is
what I was going to say.
definitely needed. Like when parents, I know it's kind of off topic, but when parents like coddle their kids too much and they eventually like something happens to them, they like it's so easy to see who needs to have like authentic play and not like adult directed play, because they'll just like cry and cry and cry and cry, and they don't understand that the meaning of like what a natural consequence is. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's really important to allow children from a young age to work through different motor patterns, to motor plan, to develop that proprioceptive sense, that body awareness, for them to move through space and understand, like, can I jump off of this rock? Is it going to be safe for me? And really analyze the situation for safety and take age-appropriate risk.
Definitely.
For sure. And then when kids are not given that opportunity at a younger age, we really see the effects of that later down the road, especially with some of the kids who are new to TimberNook. You can see that their ability to take age-appropriate risks, maybe their ability to assess a situation for safety is not the best.
Yeah.
And then the kids who have been in TimberNook for quite some time really have a better understanding of their bodies and how to motor plan and their proprioceptive sense and all of that. So
I feel like from the adult perspective, you see that a lot more with kids who come for field trips versus kids that come like every summer for summer camp. Like there's such a drastic difference.
yeah, absolutely. Risk assessment is a vital skill that starts young, for sure. Can you share a moment where you felt maybe unsure in the woods, but worked through it on your own or with the help of peers?
Yeah, so usually there was a lot of problems that came with the stealing game, although it was super fun. There was always some new kid that would cross a boundary, and we were uncomfortable with it. And so sometimes it would just be as simple as going up to them and being like, hey, you can't take stuff on our fort. That's against the rules of the stealing game. And then we'd explain it a little bit and they'd understand, and then they would follow that kind of unspoken TimberNook rule. But when things got a little bit more complicated, sometimes we would have to call a democratic meeting and have it kind of it was still run by us kids, but we would just have the adults kind of directing the conversation a little bit more so that everyone had a chance to speak. And then we would just figure out solutions to the problem at hand.
Yeah, that's coming from you, right?
Definitely.
The conversation is guided by adults, but the solutions are coming from the kids. And that's what makes it so meaningful for you all.
Yeah.
You are still in charge of your play.
Mm-hmm. It would be totally different to have a counselor come in and be like, hey, you need to talk to him about this, and this is what you're going to do to fix the problem. That would be it would kind of ruin the play, because once you go back in, I had a new counselor do that one time when I was little, and I just looked at her and I was like, oh, okay. And then I turned around once she went back in the woods. I was like, guys, we're not doing that. We're doing this.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to me that that's not the default. The default is not to have the kids, to have you as an adult guide the children to come up with their own solutions, but it's our impulse to come in and say, no, this is what you're gonna do. I'm gonna solve this problem. It's because we are uncomfortable with you guys having a conflict,
right?
And it's not because it's not good for you guys. You guys can work through that.
It looks a lot more intense when you're watching it as a counselor, because you're like, oh my gosh, that kid's gonna swing. But if you're in the situation, you're already gauging the other person's reaction, and so the situation better than somebody looking in, because you know that person more closely and on a deeper level, because you're your peers instead of your teacher is watching down,
and you know what you're playing. We don't know what you're playing.
Yeah,
we might have an idea, we might observe, but you actually know what you guys have decided upon. And again, this is all with nuance, and we are obviously there to basically, what is the word that I'm thinking of? We are upholding the TimberNook rules. If we see somebody who's being unsafe to nature, materials, themselves, or other people, we will step in, but we're doing it with the least amount of interference possible.
Right.
And that's the difference, rather than coming in full force and directing the situation.
Yeah.
And that's where true problem-solving skills, interpersonal skills, social-emotional skills, executive functioning skills, all of those things develop in children through working through that and not coming in like a bulldozer and solving everything for them.
That's why it's so obvious when you grow up and you look at other people that you're hanging out with, or just other people walking around college or high school and stuff like that, and you can just tell some people haven't grown up outdoors without parent directed play, and it shows because they don't know how to hold a conversation properly. So and that brings me to my next question, which was, how did the adults show up in these moments of conflict or uncertainty? What did their support look like without them
taking over.
Right. So my mom is like really good at this.
She is.
I see it now more when I'm a counselor. I didn't even notice her when I was little, but she will, like, if she sees that there's a conflict happening and it's starting to like get more intense, she'll creep in, but she'll get low, and so she's kind of like squat walking forward, but she'll stop far enough away where she can see and hear, and she can like butt in really quick if she needs to, but she's almost just there as emotional support. Like, she doesn't come in yet, but then if something like, if it gets out of hand, or if like kids start getting too physical and stuff like that, or like unkind words are being shared, that's when she'll come in and be like, hey guys, let's just make sure we're being kind to each other and making sure that we're just like talking about our problems, but we don't have to like take that extra step forward. So just kind of like resetting boundaries, but not like coming in a way where it's like, here is the solution to your problem.
For sure. Yeah. And there's some reflection being allowed there. Like there's,
right,
you're able to step back and be like, oh, I did break a TimberNook rule, and it's not so authoritative.
Yeah, and like even as a counselor, like when a kid comes up to you and is like, hey, like he stole my favorite like gem or pine cone or something, and you don't want to like exactly tell them how to resolve their problem, so you almost turn it back on them and you're like, hey, like did you talk to them about it? Like, why don't you go have a conversation with them? Yeah,
for sure. Allow them to self-advocate before you hop in. And
exactly,
because again, our goal is to provide the least amount of interference and give them the opportunity to be as independent with their problem solving as possible.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. And I know we've been talking a lot about when you were a kid in TimberNook, but as you got older, when did you start realizing how TimberNook had shaped the person you'd become?
Oh my gosh, probably freshman year of high school. That was like... it was like the Twilight Zone. Just compared to like how I grew up, like I didn't get a phone until I was a freshman in high school, and so I didn't know really anything about social media, and like I was just completely content with not even picking up my phone all day. And so like going into high school, like I knew how to hold conversations, like my whole family, like we all grew up outside and stuff, and I always hung out with other kids that knew how to hold conversation, because I went to this like really small school, Camden. You were there. Yep. People actually knew how to talk to each other. But anyways, so when I got to high school, I started trying to make friends, and so you go up to people and you try to have a solid conversation with them, and it was the weirdest thing. You would ask them a question and they would answer with like one word, and then they wouldn't ask you something back, and so it was almost like a one-sided conversation, and it was just like it wouldn't go anywhere. And then when you like all of a sudden you stop talking and they whip out their phone and they hold their phone like this close to their face, and so it was just really hard to connect with people like face to face and more on an interpersonal level, because like people were doing everything online.
And even in the hallways, walking through the hallways, everybody's either looking at their phone, or if they don't have their phones, they're like looking straight down at the floor as they're walking, because they don't even know how to make eye contact anymore, or like smile at somebody. Yeah,
that happens in college too. So I'll walk by someone that like was in my class or whatever, and I have my phone put away, and I'm like walking, and I make eye contact with them, and I give them a smile, and they like immediately look down like they're afraid to like talk to me. I'm like, it's okay, like you don't have to say anything to me. You just could give me like a little smirk or something. Like it's almost painful.
It's like they genuinely don't know how to respond. It's not comfortable for them. It's outside of their comfort zone. Because they haven't had that opportunity or practice to build that. It's a skill just like anything else.
Some people don't even know how to talk to like adult figures too. So like you're sitting in college class and people won't ask questions because they're afraid to be wrong, or they like don't know how to talk to a professor, but you just talk to them like they're normal people, and like it's okay to have a question. Like
fear of failure,
exactly,
it's a very real thing.
But failure is something that everyone has to go through. It's how you grow.
Yes, exactly. When you're given the opportunity to fail and realize and work to try to fail, to adapt and to recover, like that is what TimberNook, that's a natural outcome of being at TimberNook, is that you're going to try some things, it's not going to work, you're going to try something different, it may work that time, and you're going to adapt your response and recover from whatever you just quote unquote failed with. And some people just haven't had practice with that. Like they're being told what to do every second of the day. They have no freedom in that area. So
Yeah,
for sure.
That's why TimberNook is good for problem solving. And
TimberNook's good for so much.
oh yeah, we should make a bumper sticker that says TimberNook's good for you.
Yeah, that's a true statement. Yeah. In what ways do you think play influenced your confidence or your ability to trust yourself?
Oh my gosh, that's another thing. Like, I didn't realize how much TimberNook was helping me until I got to high school and like kids from all over were in my classes. But like as a kid, I was always super confident. I had no filter. Like when I got older, I realized that I need to reel that in a little bit. But my confidence grew in the woods because everybody was problem solving and they weren't afraid of failure. And so when you're not afraid of failure, you're not afraid to be confident in who you are. Absolutely. And be able to speak up. And so, yeah, definitely.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause here and asking Joelle some questions, and we're going to introduce a new segment as part of the Nook podcast, and it's called the TimberNook Tidbits. Thank you to Ashley Pond for writing in at the Nook at timbernook.com with this amazing idea. And we're going to bring you real world tips, tidbits, action items for all of you who want to protect and support play. So our first one is to pause before helping. So when a child asks for help during play, pause and observe. Take a moment before stepping in. This pause gives the children space to work through problems with peers, negotiate solutions, and manage emotions. By resisting the urge to fix things immediately, you're supporting social emotional growth, communication, and confidence in their own decision making, which these are all key skills in healthy development.
So looking back now as an adult, where do you see the clearest outcomes from your TimberNook experience as a child?
I would say definitely like my strong sense of self. I feel like a lot of kids struggle with that at my age, from probably like starting in high school and especially in college. People their childhood is so structured in a way that they almost don't have like free thoughts. Mm-hmm. Like, because parents overschedule their kids so much. They go from school to sports practice to theater practice to home, and they just go to sleep. And
homework.
Yeah. Tons of homework. But so when they wake up in the morning, it's just a repetition day after day, and they almost don't have like the free time to have free play. And so when they grow up, they don't have a strong sense of self because they don't understand what do I like to do? Stuff like that. Yeah. And I guess confidence also goes with sense of self, like just knowing who you are as a person and not changing who you are because of somebody else's opinion. I think that's really important, especially in high school and college, and even when you're an adult and in your work life. You have to realize that, TimberNook taught me that other people's opinions should not be driving your life, because then you're just living your life for other people, and you're not living your life how you want to live it. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, for sure. And we with the kids, they are able to explore so many roles in play. I mean, we talked a little bit about at conference, the difference between a leader, a negotiator, a follower, and how those things can change. Somebody can be a negotiator one day and a leader the next day, or they can be a leader most days. You really learn a lot about yourself and how you work with others at TimberNook. So I can imagine how that contributed to your sense of self.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone has a role at TimberNook, and so everyone has a sense of purpose, and that kind of builds on their sense of self.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. What do you hope that adults better understand about children, risk-taking, and play?
Okay, I really like this question. There's a lot of things I could say, but probably the main thing that I'd say is let your kids fail. Let them fall off, not a huge rock, obviously, but let them eat it a couple of times, and don't always go in when they cry, because half the time they can solve the problem by themselves. I just say back up a couple steps and let your child learn how to risk take and learn how to play with other kids, and just like don't hover, because no kid likes when you hover when they're trying to play. It actually like takes their attention away from the play and redirects it onto you. And like, so even if you're just like close by and you're not saying anything, your kid will automatically come back and like ask your permission, like whenever they need to make a choice. Whereas if you step back farther, step back but tune in, your kid they'll play better, and they'll make like closer connections with other kids that they're playing with.
Yeah, for sure. An adult's presence can shift a dynamic significantly in a play scheme.
I remember one time when I was doing TimberNook, we were having like this secret meeting with like us girls, and we were in our fort, and we like took it outside of the fort because there was like the guys were coming, and so we were saying like the last couple of things, and I remember hearing a branch snap in the woods, and like I whipped my head around. I was like, who is that? And it was just the counselor, like kind of like, but they were too close. And so when I turned back to go back into my play, I couldn't get back into it because I knew I could feel the presence of that adult right there. And so like I only relaxed when like they backed up farther. And I think that's like most parents don't realize the effect that they have on like kids play.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Very true. They probably don't realize that. And that's what's so great about this podcast and TimberNook in general, is to tell people like this, like you were saying in the beginning, this play is real for kids, and your presence alters that. And so to be mindful of that when you're
that's something I've noticed as an adult too. I'll see kids playing or like, you know, fighting or stealing or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'll see one of them like, oh, somebody's there, and then I'll watch them say, guys, stop, we shouldn't do that, we can't do that. And then they're like, and then I'm like, oh, now should I go in and tell them no, it's fine, but like at the same time I should just kind of move away.
It almost ruins the moment.
Exactly.
And, like that goes for pictures too. Like I know it's important to get pictures and stuff, but I just remember like my mom coming in to take pictures of like the play. Like she would try to do it subtly, but I'd be like, oh, like now it just doesn't feel natural because I'm trying not to pose for the camera and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of kids
do that. They're like, oh, take a picture of me, or they'll be like,
yeah, but you want to get them like in the actual play.
Like authentic play for sure. Absolutely.
So what role did TimberNook play in your friendships? Like, are there certain type of people you're drawn to, or a type of person that you're more likely to make friends with than others?
Definitely. I guess it almost made me pickier, like who I want to be friends with, because in high school, like I was still trying to figure it out, and there's a lot more different kinds of people in high school, and so like I ended up making friends with like some girls that were really manipulative, but like good thing I went through TimberNook, because I wouldn't have, like, I probably would have just put up with it, because a lot of kids like don't speak up anymore. But so like when I went through that, like I was able to set my boundaries and be like, hey, like this is not like somebody that I want to be friends with, and like to be able to try to resolve it, yes, but if it doesn't get resolved, to be able to walk away and find new friendships. And so now, like I guess I'm a little bit more careful. Like I am a really bubbly person, so I connect with a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of things in common with other people. So like I always like friends who are super outdoorsy and who can like match my bubbly energy. But like people that like I can go out and do things with, like not like I'm not really into parties and stuff, but like let's go hiking, or let's like explore an abandoned building. I know you're not supposed to do that, but it's super fun.
I do that.
So yeah, I end up being friends with, I actually have this huge group of guy friends, but they're all homeschooled, and I think that's super funny because like they're super personable and they're super like spontaneous and adventurous, and it's almost because they're homeschooled, like in a way, because they grew up kind of how I did. So, but I found that it's really hard to find like friends that are like wholesome friends that are girls that like share my interests and like and are their own person, and they don't like change their personality based on who they're with. And this might be getting in too deep, but I really do not like when people talk bad about people behind their backs, like especially like if we're in like a friend group and then somebody leaves and they're like, oh, like she's so annoying. Like it's really hard to find girls that don't talk crap behind people's backs. So
yeah, but it's really hard nowadays with like what you were saying before. Nobody goes out and plays outside anymore. Everybody's on their phones. Social media has destroyed making friends, being comfortable in your own skin and having your own personality. 100%. Everybody is like, oh, this girl's prettier than me. Oh, this person has nicer things than me. Yeah. And they want to do this and do that. And if you're not fitting into that standard that is on social media, you're like weird. Or you don't feel good about yourself.
It's almost like a popularity thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it all comes back to what you were mentioning before about your strong sense of self versus maybe others who may not have as strong of a sense of self. So they may feel the need to bend according to different standards, like their friend standards, society standards, social media, all of that. So if you really are rooted in a strong sense of self and you've had practice through TimberNook of dealing with many different personalities, building those interpersonal skills, those are vital skills to carry you through your lifetime.
Yeah.
If you could say one thing to caregivers or educators who may feel nervous about child-led outdoor play, what would that be?
I don't know. I'd probably just say there's no reason to be nervous. Like this is something that's key in every kid's development. And so like if you deprive a kid of this kind of play, you're making them miss out on something like their strong sense of self and just stuff like that. Later on in life, you're going to realize that like just you need to put your fears on the back burner so that your kids can like live their life,
thrive. They can thrive for sure.
And like we said before, like the most important thing is that the risk taking and natural consequences are so important because they won't be able to make their own decisions or take those risks that they would otherwise, like they're just going to be more, I guess, I don't want to say fearful, but just less likely to take those risks and try new things, meet new people, even just learn more about themselves. They'll be too nervous to actually step out of their comfort zone and do something, rather than if they get out there and start pushing boundaries, and like letting them make those decisions on their own.
It's important to like do that from a young age too, because if you constantly make decisions and like, oh, like that's not safe, like they can't do that, you take away their risk assessment. And so when you finally have to let them loose when they turn 18 or when they go to college, you're letting them do it, but they have no experience with risk taking and those social interactions because you've constantly been telling them what to do. And so when you finally let them loose into the world, they have no idea what to do and they make terrible decisions.
Well, right, exactly. There's actually, like your mom talks about this a lot, that they're more injury prone as they get older if they're not given that opportunity to grow that skill set of risk assessment.
Right.
And so if they're not given the opportunity to do that, if you're controlling their environment so much in their choices that they're not given the opportunity to do that, they're going to be more prone to injury later on, and they're going to be less aware again of their bodies and all of that. And you're never going to be able to prevent everything with your child.
Yes.
You're never going to be able to wrap them in bubble wrap and prevent anything bad from happening. Obviously, there are measures that you take to promote a safe environment because we want to promote felt safety and physical safety, obviously. But there's always going to be things that happen that you can't control.
Yep.
And so you need to prepare your kids for those moments and give them as much opportunity to grow in that skill set as possible so that they're set up for later life.
Yeah, you're basically, like, if you let your kid have child-directed play without hovering, you're also building their resilience. So like you were saying, when they finally go out into the real world and something bad happens, they're able to bounce back from that. Whereas if you don't give them that opportunity, it could be like detrimental.
Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
And before we close it out, I got a good question for you. So if you could relive one day of your childhood in TimberNook, exactly how it was, which one would it be and why?
Definitely from the Goonies camp. There was one day, it was trap doors and booby traps, and I loved that day. I still love watching it as a counselor.
Your mom tells us about this when you were a kid a lot.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, I consider myself the master of booby traps. So basically, I made this great tripwire. I got in trouble for making it, but I connected this rope and I tied it to one of the trees on the other side from the fort, and I knew the guys were gonna come steal from us, and so I hid the rope under leaves and I hid behind a tree on the other side. And so when the guys came to steal one of our tires or blocks of wood or something, they grabbed it and I let them. And then when they started running back towards their fort, I yanked the tripwire and he ate it. Oh my gosh, it was like the highlight moment of my TimberNook experience.
Oh my gosh.
But one of the counselors stood up and was like, Joelle, and I was like, oh shoot. No regrets, but I definitely shouldn't have done that.
No regrets, she says.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's so funny. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure to have you on here and learn from your lived experience. You're somebody who has been a part of TimberNook for so long, and that's so special and unique, and so amazing to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you both, so thank you.
Yeah,
awesome.
Of course. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you the first Tuesday of every month. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, follow, whatever you're watching this on. And now, as we close out, we're going to let Joelle look right at that camera right there and say, remember to go and play the TimberNook away.
Remember to go and play the TimberNook away.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon.